Hey, Carp Anglers, James Sanders here.
Daniel Irish from American Bank. Sorry, just making sure everything's going up right.
How you guys doing out there? Today's our special guest. We have Richard Gaudreau. Am I saying it right? Richard? Gaudreau. Sorry. Yeah. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm great.
Doing good, yeah.
You're probably our third Arizona Carp Angler on our show. Congratulations for making it.
Oh, I appreciate that very much. It's an honor. We're kind of getting up there a little bit. We're getting a little better out there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man, so how's the weather been out there? You said you'd have rod pods in the back, you know, if it wasn't so hot. You guys melting out there?
It's mellowing out a little bit. We're down to 107, 108. I think we might have some 90s in the forecast next week, but it takes a couple of weeks after that to start getting that water pulled down for us.
I'll bet.
Yeah, I know that's one of the issues that I was having over the week. I was doing a session with Jace Alford, and we were just, shout out Kenny Mack, he put us on down to Dale Hollow, but you know, we were down there, the water's just so hot that the carp don't even want to move. They're just staying stagnant and just kind of filter feeding whatever comes their way, and they're just not moving at all.
Man.
Yeah, it's especially, you know, most of our opportunities don't have that deep water to hide in, so we're fishing in 12 to 20 feet of water when it's 118 degrees, then it heats up fast.
Right.
I'm surprised those fish aren't coming out cooked.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the grass carp seem to love it, but we're kind of getting a little tired of those guys.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't really care for grass carp much myself.
I'll see it on YouTube.
But when you guys are suffering through your winter, it's kind of our heyday out here, so.
I'll figure it out after
Okay. But, wow. Now, like I say, you're powered by a third carp angler. We talked from Arizona, and of course it's hot as heck out there right now. Do you do a lot of night fishing or daytime fishing?
Really depends on the time of year. This time of year, you're better off at night, for temperature-wise, and it's quieter. Me personally, I have more success. Up until this last spring, I had more success during the day. This last spring in March, it really turned on at night for us. We decided to sit and try that swim. I have a partner that I regularly fish with, and one night he said, you know, hey, let's stay late. That swim was not known for really successful catch rates after dark, and he ended up getting a 41-pounder at a.m. So.
Oh wow, really? That's awesome.
Yeah, we kind of disproved that theory on our end.
Wow, that's crazy. Do you, the bait shops, do you have any kind of carps, bait shops out there that sells carp products or anything around where you live at?
We do not. We have mostly Bass Pro.
Yeah.
We have Bass Pro and Cabela's here in Phoenix, but it's mostly centered towards bass, and I think they've gotten a little more towards catfish now. That used to be my primary species, was catfish.
Right.
But as far as carp gear, no, it's mostly Carp Angler or BCT, or, you know, I've ordered a lot of stuff off eBay, but you have to wait for the shipping, but it's phenomenally priced.
Right.
So.
Do you see words popping up or anything? Or people communicating?
On Facebook?
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Like I said, we got some new equipment. We're trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might need to refresh it.
Okay, maybe that's what it is.
So like, You know, I know that you have a lot of canals and stuff like that. And like you said, you're fishing a lot of 10 to 12 foot water. So what are a few of the things that you actually look for when you're choosing your swim?
Well, our canals are kind of based off of flow, but this time of year the flows are extremely high because everybody's calling for water. So to fish a canal this time of year, you definitely wouldn't be using pack. If you are, you're going to have to use 6 or 7 ounces of lead just to keep your rig where you want it. So most of us, it's going to be community waters like parks. There's a few subdivisions that have lakes. It just depends on what the subdivision or the community allows as far as fishing goes.
Right.
But you can go to like the Salt River, but again, you're dealing with 1,000 tubers, so you can catch fish underneath them. It really depends. For me personally, I go to the places that have been consistent for me before.
Okay. All right. You got what's the biggest lake around you right now?
Closest lake to me in Mesa would be Canyon Lake or Saguaro Lake. They're both about an hour to an hour and a half away.
Okay.
And on the weekends, they're kind of rough to fish with the boating traffic and the kayakers and the paddleboarders.
Imagine. Wow. So, what do you go out there? So have you ever caught a beer? Yeah.
Me primarily used to be catfish, but honestly,
yeah,
I probably haven't touched my catfish rods in close to a year. I have carp on and off for probably 20 years, but the last 5 years the bug bit me, and I really just dedicated my skill to learning more about carping and the community and so forth. We have a special gift here. We have miles and miles of canals with gorgeous fishing. They're just difficult to find.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. So was it one specific fish that kind of got you bit again, or was it a boredom of catfishing, or what was it that kind of brought you back into the carp?
It was the knowledge and the skill needed to actually not just put a piece of corn on a hook and throw it in the water and cross your fingers for whatever bites, but actually targeting the specific species, as well as the tying of rigs, the rod pods, the alarms, the equipment, plus the tug at the drug. And if you're into the adrenaline, there's not much better than carp out there, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, 100%. So, do you? So, you said, do you ever go to just grocery stores and get all your to make your own pack bait?
I'm sorry?
So, do you ever go just to grocery?
Yeah, I make my own pack bait.
Yeah.
When I was getting back in, I had a bunch of friends that taught me their recipes for pack bait, and I kind of just took individual ingredients from theirs.
Okay.
And kind of made my own. And it's one of my biggest things now is trying to expand off of that. I found something that works and it's hard to break away from it.
Yeah.
So, only being allowed 2 rods in Arizona, it's hard to experiment.
Yeah,
so I will usually dedicate 1 rod to my go-to and then be experimenting with the other.
Yeah, that's kind of tough, only being able to fish 2 rods, where here we have 3. Tennessee, you're allowed 4. So, it's like, it really...
Is it 4?
Yeah, it's difficult to...
Because I heard it was like unlimited, I think.
Oh, it might be more than that, I know. I know we use like 4, yeah. But it's hard, to experiment when you only have 2 rods. You really...
Exactly.
It's easy for me to throw, to be able to throw 3 out, that was something that I'm really confident in. And then have that 4th rod as kind of the experimenter all day or something like that.
Right.
Now,
and our opportunities or times of year, they're so limited. It's hard to want to experiment when you found something that works.
Right.
And you have big fish in your swim.
Yeah, it definitely, pun intended, but it sounds like, all you guys out there in Arizona are in the Wild West of carping, because we're very fortunate over here to have bait shops that carry things like bottom feeder baits and all those ground baits, and all of our flavors and our goos and stuff like that. And while I was talking to him, Jace was kind of surprised that I could just, you know, drive 5 minutes down the road and get some of those things. That it's very convenient. I kind of forget about it sometimes. You know, it definitely
kind of
seems
blessed
like
a little bit.
very, very blessed. It kind of, you know, you guys are really roughing it out there.
We are. It's like sooner or later somebody's going to do it. We keep yelling at Carp Angler, "Hey, open a store out here!" But you know, the sport is growing still out here. I still feel like we're still struggling with the carp are trash fish.
Yeah.
Opinion, and we're slowly growing as a community, but we also we have a lot of work to do in Arizona as far as carp and the protection of carp and actually the respect of the sport of carp fishing.
Yeah, we have a lot of that here too. Just one of my favorite things to do is to fish on Park Lake, things like that, and every time I catch one, just kind of show people, you know, this is what a common carp looks like, you know, look at how the scales are, isn't it? You know, they always say, that's actually a beautiful fish. And I'm like, yeah, it gets a trash reputation, but once you actually, you know, see a carp and you can appreciate it, they usually walk away with a whole different point of view. So it's nice to at least change one person's mind at a time.
Exactly. And a lot of it too is, you know, we'll be fishing at a very public swim, a park or a subdivision, and then everybody's walking their dogs in the evenings, and they'll see all of our equipment, our cradle, our pod, our alarms, and so forth, and be like, you know, what the hell are you doing? What's that for? You know, it's just a carp. Why are you protecting it? Why do you need a cradle for it? You know, so sharing the knowledge of why we do what we do and why we want to conserve them for future generations.
Yeah, they don't seem to understand that, do they?
No. You'll go to a main lake like Lake Havasu, and they'll be like, "You actually fish for carp?" You know, we used to throw those in the garden, you know, stuff like that. We still, and of course we do. We have the struggle with the bow fishermen and different tournaments. And,
so the chumming, you don't chum in Arizona, do you?
Not really. If we're in a good swim, we will, like, if we have bait left over, we'll toss it in when we leave. We don't do a ton of pre-baiting, especially in the canals, because there's just so much, in that confined space, there are so many species of fish that are going to be there.
Right.
And your pre-bait is gone in 2 hours.
Yeah, we're going to try.
So mostly, if we know we're going to be fishing that swim again, we'll throw, like the next day, for instance, we'll throw our leftover bait in. But as far as baiting campaigns, it's difficult to do that in a canal.
Right. Do you have DNRs? It's pretty strict on those guidelines. A lot.
Not really. They don't discourage chumming, but they don't. I'm sorry.
Oh no, go on. I'm sorry. We're putting something over your...
No, they don't really discourage chumming, like, or baiting up as we call it, but if you're not in one of our big lakes, it's not really beneficial.
Okay, all right.
In my experience. Now, somebody else could come and say, no, we bait and do this, but especially in the canals, with the bass and the catfish and all of the tilapia and everything, your bait is gone and out for if you pre-bait.
All right. Sweet. Okay. All right. Good. Yeah, we're throwing a couple of your photos out there that that you sent to us. That is a big koi.
Yeah, we have photos of your big orange koi up here. Looks like she has some white around her tail and white around her fins. Very beautiful fish. Yeah,
that's actually the second one I caught there. I caught her almost exact fin last year at the same spot. A lot of people actually thought that was a recapture until me and my fishing partner actually looked at her a little closer. There's a handful of them in there. There's a couple of them in there that are quite larger than that one. But yeah, that one was a special fish to me.
That's nice.
And then we also have this 35-3 caught on 321, and it looks like it swallowed a beach ball.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yes. Now, March fish are pre-spawn fish.
Yeah.
So we had a swim that's pretty known for larger commons pre-spawn. Plus, in March, the grassers aren't exactly that active yet. So we have a window of 3 to 4 weeks where it tends to be just on fire, and you know that's the time of year. Like I've got the 46, I got the 41. It's a special time of year, and a lot of people know that swim, but we also have individuals that want to abuse that swim, and they're not anglers, so to speak, but they don't want people fishing there.
Really? That's crazy.
Yeah, there's a couple spots that I used to fish like that when I was a teenager over in Wanamaker where I grew up, that it's just, there's ponds and nobody fishes them, but there's people that they just say, I live by the water, so it's my water, and it's very, very annoying.
Yes, yeah. That's a special place in March and April. That's when the pre-spawn commons are massive in here.
Yeah, we have bringing up a picture of your 46-8 right now.
Good job.
She is a massive common, man.
Yeah, that picture doesn't do her justice. She just had such girth then. My partner hadn't showed up yet. I got her at like 10 a.m. And he hadn't showed up yet. And to this day, I still don't know how I got her out of the canal by myself without going in. I didn't honestly, when I caught that fish, realize how big she was until my partner tried to lift her out.
Oh, no kidding.
When he got there, because I kept her in the retention sling until I had help.
Oh, wow. Yeah, nice. But, well, geez, that, what do you, what's the kind of favorite flavors you mess with when you go carp fishing?
My go-to is a good, simple tiger nut topped with a piece of quarter corn.
Okay.
I have 100 different flavors of boilies in this bag that I use, the Proline, all kinds of stuff. And I experiment with those, but honestly, out of my top 20 big fish, 18 of them are probably come on a tiger nut or double tiger nut.
Wow.
Okay. So like you said, you use the tiger and a Corda pop-up. What is your confidence color? What color is like, when the bite's tough, you're like, this is the one that I really feel like they're going to pick out?
That'd be yellow.
Yellow? See, that's why I love to ask.
Yeah.
I think you're the first person that I've talked to that's picked yellow. Usually I hear whites and pinks and oranges.
A lot of
but
pinks.
Yeah, I love to hear yellow because that's something that I'm trying to get more confidence on.
Yeah, Hinder's tiger nut and Bedouin and yellow quarter corn, and I'm happy. And then of course my pack bait. My koi, all of my koi have come on that, and my top 3 commons have come on that. And then I had one that was a peach and sour cream boilie.
Nice.
But like I said, my
peach.
top 20 fish, 8 of them have easily come on tiger nut.
Yeah,
Easy.
I love peach. I love that color. The whole taste of it. I feel like I catch a lot of PBs off the peach flavor.
Yeah, I was using some of the peach goo this weekend for my hook baits, and they seem to really pick it up. They seem to like it. I love the peach. I like that the specific one that I was using gives off an orange color, and one of my confidence colors is orange. So any hook bait that I was using gave off that little orange hue that I was really liking.
So what makes your get nosy here? What makes your pack bait so special?
Nothing really. There isn't anything that you can't go to the grocery store right now and get. It's just I'm comfortable with that mixture and the consistency.
I like that. I dig it.
I played with it enough to know how long it's going to sit there before it starts to break down.
Okay. Nice.
I like that. Yeah, it sounds like you kind of found
confidence in it.
Yeah, you kind of like found your recipe, and then after that, you just kind of mastered it.
Yeah, good deal.
Yeah, especially in a canal where you've got flow, you want your pack bait to kind of stay a little more solid than you would if you were in a main body of water without current.
Okay, so that kind of brings me to another question. So do you prefer the canals, lakes, or ponds?
If I had the option, I would probably fish canals simply because the larger fish. Our lakes, you can go out and you can get lots of teeners unless you're going to Havasu, which is a 3-hour drive from here.
Right.
They do have quite a few giants in Lake Havasu. But me personally, I think there's not much that beats pulling a 30-plus pounder out of a canal.
Okay.
And they just, they use that whole length of canal. They're just peeling line off that reel like, you're surf fishing. To me, that's the drug for me.
So how big is your canal width-wise, would you say?
It depends. They vary depending upon what canal. Like we have 2 main canals that leave the diversion dam on the river, and then every canal in the valley comes off of one of them, one or the other.
Gotcha.
So the larger canals this time of year, they're running at 600 to 700 cubic feet per second. So they're flying. But in the winter time, when they don't need to irrigate as much and the demand is down for water, that's when the flows are nice and low and you can actually sit. And I mean, a lot of these guys are going and fly fishing for carp.
Okay.
To me, that would be a rush if you get a 30-pound on a fly.
On a fly, man, I always think that fly fishing is like a work of art. Just to study it, you got the whole, back and forth motion, like your little bullwhip going on. You just let that. I don't know. I never caught a carp off a fly. I do have a fly rod. I used it once, twice. Never really had any too much luck on it. Maybe like a bluegill here and there, but I would love to master it more. But that's awesome on the fly.
It's a rush.
Oh, I bet. Do you think the canals bring out a better fight than a river fish, a river carp?
I think it's actually no. If you were to go to the Salt River and get a teener, a 19, 20 pounder, that fish to me personally is stronger than a fish in the canal.
Okay, nice. Okay.
A river's a little weird here in the fact that this time of year the flows are high, obviously, and there's a lot of tubers and kayakers, but in the winter time, they back that off, so the river doesn't exactly flow all the way through. There's large pools that the fish end up getting trapped in. And they're there until they open it up.
We was talking to one of our other guests a while back, and I can't remember who it was, but he actually recommended, and he actually loved it when kayakers or boaters came through a lot because they feel like it stirred up the swim.
That was me.
Oh, was that you?
Yeah.
Okay, there it is.
It does. Plus the Porsche's walking around too.
And it actually stirs things up a little bit better and brings better flow to the fish. And I have seen that strategy done before, and it actually, where people were like in different type of ponds, they actually took a jet ski to, stir up the fish a little bit better. And bring that up, but,
Yeah, I kind of see it as, you know your bait's there. Sometimes the fish are over your bait, but they're not moving. So I think, if a boat comes through or a kayaker comes through, it gives them that little bit of movement, and then they know, oh, I was just over some food. So then they come back in, they suck up a little bit of food to get that energy back, and then you hook them.
And I feel like in a river, the fish has to maintain its strength a little more than in a concrete canal, where sooner or later it knows it's going to eat. It eats when it wants to.
Right.
It doesn't have to use the natural process of going out and searching for food along a riverbank. It just swims along the edge of the canal. Whatever's there, it eats. You know.
So if you see like you got a bunch of chum or something or whatever, I know you can't chum too much there in Arizona, but you see a lot of smaller fish biting on your ingredients down there on the bottom of the lake floor. Do you feel like that attracts the bigger carp to that area when they see other fish?
Yes and no. I feel like it attracts a lot of catfish for us.
Okay.
A lot of channel cats, and the 2 to 5 pound channel cat, not the 20 plus pound channel cat.
And
then during the summer, especially, it attracts a lot of the grass carp and the turtles.
Yeah, the turtles what gets.
And then
close.
you know you've got everything swimming around in there, and the common are like, "Yeah, we'll go somewhere else and eat. There's too much here." You know, I think the bigger commons aren't really sociable anymore.
Okay.
You know, I'm going over here on the side of this. You know, I'm going over here where it's quiet.
Yeah.
And plus around here, the bigger commons, a lot of them I think have been caught so many times, they've developed just that knowledge of, hey, last time I ate over there, you know, this happened.
Yeah, you've got them almost like a syndicate
Oh.
fish over in Europe or something.
Yeah.
You know, they've been caught so many times they kind of know what a rig looks like now.
Yeah, I feel like carp is a very, very smart fish. Smarter than a catfish, actually.
They are. They don't get the credit they deserve.
No, they really don't. Man, what was the question? I had a good question for you. Okay, what the heck? That was a good question, too.
Slipped right out.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay. So how cold does it really get during wintertime in Arizona?
Our Decembers are sometimes in the 60s during the day.
Wow, really?
Which in Phoenix is frigid. We might dip into the 50s occasionally. But March is like our happy month here. March is pre-spawn. We're sitting here in Phoenix in July and June and May watching you guys catch pre-spawn fish, knowing that time of year's over for us.
Yeah.
And you guys are sitting watching us in
So vice versa.
December. You know, my favorite time of year starts in November for carping.
Nice.
It's when I've had the most success, November to April.
So do you go out and fish during Christmas time?
You can. You have most of the swim to yourself.
Yeah. Oh,
Pretty
yeah,
much.
okay. That makes sense. Yeah. I always want to catch a Christmas carp. I never really ever caught one.
Yeah. So
Right.
we don't really have the
Yeah, Christmas
opportunity
carp.
too much here.
Yeah. Or a Thanksgiving carp. But you know,
Right.
you always got family around and all that stuff. You know, of course, that's
Absolutely.
the time actually to spend time with family. But anyways, I always wanted to. Let's see what happens like one day.
That's what you should just say. Merry Christmas, everybody. We're going carping.
There you go.
There you go. There
You get
go.
a pole.
That's
You
right.
get a
Throw it in the
pole.
truck. Let's
You
go.
get a PB.
So what's your what actually got you started in carp fishing?
You know, when I was probably 6 years old, the first fish I ever caught was a carp.
Oh wow,
And
nice job.
ever since then, I would randomly fish for a carp. You know, I'd go catfishing all the time, but hey, let's go try to get some carp. Let's put some corn on this hook and go out and do it. And then I didn't live in Phoenix at the time, so we would go to the Colorado River, we would go to Lake Mead, we would go to Lake Mojave, and bigger, deeper waters, much more of a challenge. Then moving down to Phoenix, you know, the carp community is a little more defined down here, so to speak.
Right.
We have, like I said, miles of canals and the lakes on the river, and I just happened to meet somebody that was really into it at the time, tying rigs, and he's like, you know, come out with us sometime, and I was just hooked. You know, it's a physical investment as far as knowledge, but it's also financial investment, and I just, you know, it's a drug to me. It's an addiction.
Oh yeah,
to me.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a passion too. I love being able to catch one of these, 20, 30-pound fish that are up there in age class and be able to photograph them and release them safely. And maybe somebody 2 months from now is going to catch that same fish and it's going to be their first fish,
Sweet. What would you say that carp can see color?
My what? I'm sorry?
Could you say that carp? I mean, I ask these questions all the time with our guests on the show, and everybody always has their different opinions all the time. Do you think carp sees color? Color?
Yes and no. I think for carp it's more scent than color.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I think that's the first person I ever heard say it that way. You're the first angler to say it that way.
And the reason being is I can throw out a citrus boilie,
Yeah.
say a Nash citrus boilie, and I can throw that same boilie out that's been soaked in aniseed oil and have completely different results. They're the same color,
Okay.
but they have completely different scents. And, you can have one that you can't put it down all day, and the other one sits there all day.
Now, do you think that, again, questions, everybody's different. Do you, with the sense of smell with the carp, or the taste, whatever, having that flavor on the bottom of the lake floor, and of course the water absorbing it a lot, do you think that stuff gets watered down a lot, where a carp can get that sense of smell or taste to it?
I think it depends on a lot of environmental factors there, as well as the quality of a attractant that you're using. I think in warmer water, personally, the scent is going to disperse a little faster than in colder water. I think in colder water, you're going to have a little more powerful of an attractant around longer.
Okay, yeah.
But I also feel like once carp are feeding, other carp see them feeding, and interest is peaked as well. So a lot of times on a swim, that's what we do, is just kind of try to keep their interest up.
Right.
My partner has a bait boat that he'll run out there, well, not in a canal, but at a pond.
Right.
He'll run out there once in a while and just, drop some tiger nuts or chopped up boilies or something, just to keep fish in the area and interested. I think if they don't have a reason to be there as far as feeding, or if it's not a main travel route, they won't stay.
Do you like those bait boats a lot?
Yeah, like they're bored, there's nothing here. But the attractants, I think, to me, pay off better in colder water.
Okay, yeah. I've honestly, I've never heard it explained like that, but the way that you break it down, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's one of the great things about the carp community, is you could say this and then 10 other people will say 10 different things, and you take a little bit from what everybody's saying and you try to fashion it into something that's going to work for you.
Yeah, that's kind of, I talk all the time, that's kind of how I came up with my style, was, grabbing a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, and just kind of, seeing what works, throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks, so to say.
Right.
Would you, do you use PVA bags a lot?
I do not, personally. I have the stuff,
Yeah.
but personally, I've just kind of found what works and I stay with it, and it's hard to experiment for me, not only because of the availability of stuff to experiment with, but
Right.
it's hard for me to break away from something that I found that works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What size hooks do you use?
Primarily for me, I use a size 6.
Okay.
I started out using a size 2 and I got a lot more hook pulls. And one of my fishing buddies in the community was like, go down to a smaller hook and see what happens.
Yeah.
And ever since I've gone down to a size 6, I don't have near the issue of hook pulls that I used to.
That's how I started. I started out when I went carp fishing for, started out catfishing, carp fishing together. That's what the size I was using, a size 2 with a hot dog on it.
Yeah.
And it always worked for me. And then I met this one carp angler years ago. His nickname was Bait Runner. Now he lives down in Florida. That was back in the day. That was our Hoosier carp. Our codes. I don't know how long you've been carp fishing. How long have you been carp fishing? Maybe.
Well, all time, probably 5 years for me.
Okay. Now back in the day, about 15 years ago, I mean, we had handles. Yeah, we actually had like trucker handles.
You guys had like aliases.
Yeah, and that's how we was known as. I remember back in the day, I was called Fish Fighter 1. If you knew Gilbert Huxley, his name was Indy Carper. I mean, it was just on and on. You had Bait Runner, you had Big Daddy Carpster, you had the Carpinator.
Right.
I mean, it just kept going on and on. And but yeah, that's like I started this tournament years ago, and then and his nickname was Bait Runner. And he told me, he said, "Man, you actually catch carp with that kind of size hook?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "Man, just like, yes, here, try this hair rig." I'm like, "Okay, I'll try it out." And I seen all those little pretty lights, the bait runners and all that stuff. The longer rods, and then the rod pods. Like, hey, this is kind of cool. I like this kind of setup, the European style. Back in that day, everybody thought you was bringing in some kind of spacecraft. Because people never really seen that stuff before. And I think it actually. I know it started from the European side, UK, but I think it sort of started really in the California area, and it started making its way here to, further east to us. So I was like, but I could tell a lot more stories about that, but anyway, this is about you.
Right.
So is there, are you just using these tigers and a corn on a hair rig, or is there a specific rig that you like to use?
I like the hair rig. I like to experiment with my hairs. I kind of spent a lot of the early season last year experimenting with making rigs and what I liked, and hook lengths and hair lengths, and my partner got me into trying out some hook swivels and stuff like that, and baiting cloths, and just trying something new. And I've kind of been experimenting with rigs, and once I find one that it's been successful for me, I tend to keep it. But in the back of my mind, I'm also kind of thinking, okay, what if we did this? What if I did this? But I think I've kind of found the rig that I like as far as the hair length and everything, and the size 6. A lot of people think it's too small. Me, I think it's perfect. There's still guys out there that'll use a 2, or but it doesn't make sense to get a hook pull on a bigger hook, and when you think about it. But then when you look at the structure of a carp's mouth, it makes sense.
Yeah.
That's what I'm used to, is a 6. I won't go any a little smaller than an 8. I actually seen people use 10s. I'm like, what? That's like small.
Yeah, I can imagine trying to pull that out of the fleshy part of their mouth. I couldn't imagine.
That's like
without doing damage.
Yeah. So, but I guess that happens. That's kind of like a fly. That's kind of like a fly hook.
Yeah. Just something small. I can see them on zigs and stuff like that.
Yeah. But
right. A lot of the suckers around here they use the smaller hooks. We have Sonoran suckers, and they use a 6 or an 8.
Okay. All right. That's cool. You don't have much do too many tournaments there in Arizona, do you?
No.
Yeah.
It's difficult to host a tournament in Arizona with the rules and regulations, and I'm a member of a couple of catfish groups that wanted to just have friendly $10 buy-in tournaments, and it requires permits and this and that.
Strict.
And most of our lakes are within a national forest, so then you have that regulation as well. We're going through the same thing with the research project that I participate in for buffalo fish. You know, you have the owner of the lake, which is SRP, Salt River Project, but then you have Tonto National Forest that also has their regulations. So it ends up being a lot more work than...
Sounds like it.
Yeah, sounds like it's a lot of hoops to jump through.
Can't make like a friends like with DNRs and you know and hey, what's the quickest way I could get this set up or something like that? And, you know, without you guys.
Quickest way to set up a tournament is to be a bass fisherman.
Yeah,
I know, and it's sad. That's so crazy.
Arizona is in their pocket. I am, you know, 100% convinced. Arizona is in the pocket of the bass fishermen.
Oh yeah. And what's even, you know, funnier, if you would call it that, about that is largemouth bass are invasive to Arizona.
Correct.
So
carp have been in Arizona longer.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it pays the bills. They, you know, that's where the money is. It's the same thing we go through with the bow fishing. They pay, and they pay a lot. So getting them to get regulated or getting them to, you know, save this one lake for these 100-plus-year-old buffalo fish. Do not bow fish them there. I mean, we've been at it for. Our organizer of this project has been at it for well over 3 years.
Nice.
And it's still gotten nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it goes, you know, especially when you have uninformed people who don't really know much about the fish and they just want to go out and shoot something because, you know, they hunt during the winter. And then during the summer, okay, well, we just go shoot fish off the boat. And that's all it is to them. They don't understand that these fish can live to 100, 120 years.
That's crazy.
You know, I mean, this fish has been around since the Great Depression, and you're just going to shoot it?
Correct. Very possible that fish is, you know, 110, 112 years old. You know, I mean, we had a biologist come out from Minnesota, one of the leading biologists, and, you know, we aged him, and it's just so sad for somebody to go out in the boat and pop one with an arrow and then throw it in the dumpster in the parking lot and have that be legal.
Yeah.
I just don't understand, but again, I guess money talks, right? So, like,
exactly. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
We don't spend the millions and billions of dollars a year on carp gear that makes them an interest, makes us an interest rather in them.
I'm probably not quite. Do you have a lot of Indians, native Indians, in Arizona?
Yes.
Are they? I don't know. Do they do a lot of fishing? Do they do a lot of fishing for carp fishing there or anything like that, or are they? Or do they?
We don't really see a lot
that?
of it. I feel personally that our carp fishing community in Arizona is still small and still in a very developmental phase.
Right.
We have a lot of younger folks coming on board now, like Jace, that are important for the sport.
Right.
But for every one Jace, there's 15 others that are trying to take the sport backwards.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a bit of a battle. I think we're kind of like a teenager trying to find our identity. And I think it's going in a good direction in Arizona as long as we continue to get the younger folks like Jace and a few others.
I feel like
keep them interested.
I feel like once you get the other states around your area,
correct,
kind of like a chain reaction with other states, and it just keeps on going down that way.
Correct.
Further west to you guys. I mean, I feel like it will catch on like a domino effect. It just
correct. I think sooner or later our community is going to be big enough and strong enough to start being able to make changes.
Right.
Maybe not in my lifetime, but I think sooner or later they will have to acknowledge us and hear us and make changes.
You have to find that one. I feel like you're going to have to find that one special bait shop and really talk to them, and then get people populating, going to that one specific bait shop to get things grown. I tell you, we had this bait shop, and it just closed down recently, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. It's called West Side Bait and Tackle, and that bait shop started a great boom effect. We had a guy named Doyle. They actually came from, brought these European style from California and brought to this bait shop. He thought it was the coolest thing ever. Jim Donald thought it was, the owner, thought it was the coolest thing ever. And he started, then you got some of these other little clubs that started coming together, and that bait shop just started buying this stuff. And I think that's what catches the man's eye more is all these buttons and, lights that lights up like a little baby, like a baby, like, ooh, wow.
Yeah.
Look, I gotta touch it. There's no kind of thing, and it's this.
Right.
And it catches on. But I think if you guys get that one certain bait shop or a state or a bait shop in a different part of that state that it's got great potential, it might start that spark where it might turn into a fire. So.
Yeah, it really just takes that one to really show, that, there are a lot of carpers around here, that this product will get moved off the shelf. It does have a big demand, things like that.
Now you was talking about, I think we kind of, you didn't know, there's Arizona carpers right there, right? How many how many anglers do you think that you can fish with in that state? That you know of?
I would say the full-time carp anglers that dedicate themselves 100 to the sport and to the preservation in Arizona, less than 500.
Okay, that's great. That's pretty good. Do you guys have a Facebook?
And that's counting all of the groups on social media.
So you do have a Arizona Carpers Facebook page?
Yes, they have a group, and there's a couple of other groups out there for carping. Right. The thing is as our sport grows, we also have to realize that our opportunities are a lot more limited than some other states too. We don't have all of this water, and some of the waters in our state don't have carp, period. Literally in northern Arizona, there might be 3 or 4 lakes that have carp in them. Everything else is managed for trout or other species, cold water species. So as our community grows, we're getting a little tighter and tighter as far as space and swims go.
I bet you in about 10 years, hopefully I'd like to see that moving a lot. I know 10 years sounds like far away right now, but I kind of seen it, and I feel like, and we talked about this before, I feel like the money that people put into carp fishing is almost about as much as money they put into a bass boat. You know what I mean? That's
absolutely.
Yeah, that was even on Mythbusters. That TV show, Mythbusters, they actually did a thing like that between carp fishing and how everybody thought, oh, it's a trash fish. Well, no, I tell you, carp has got, just great resources out of any other fish. I feel like all the fish, carp, they all work together in a certain, in a great circle of life. They have babies, bass eats those babies. Bass has babies. Minnows, and the carp eats those. They're feeding off each other. They really are. Just like any other.
It is. It absolutely is.
Carp does tear up, root up, but they're not tearing that much stuff to make it, bad. I can't.
Right.
It's just there's just a lot of you know, naysayers all the time that's, you know, that's just totally anti-carp, and they just want to keep it, you know, they just want to keep it as a trash fish. So I don't know, but
That's what it's mostly about, is education. And
yeah,
you know,
absolutely, absolutely.
if somebody walks up and says, "What is all this stuff?" taking the time to say, "This is why I have this rod pod. This is why I have this cradle. This is why I like my 13-foot rods, and this is why I like this line." And then, if you're lucky enough, that's happened to us a few times, you end up getting a run when you're showing everybody your gear, so they can actually see how it works. And or somebody might walk up when you have a fish in the cradle. I had my 46 in the cradle last year, and a couple walked up, and
That's incredible.
Oh,
we're
wow.
so excited. "Oh, you guys are carp fishing? Oh, well, that's you know, they had the why until they saw that fish in the cradle, and then it was like my partner had to actually ask them, "Can you guys step back for a little while so we can get this thing picture done, weighed, and back into the canal?" You know, they were so excited after it.
Yeah.
And we saw them 2 or 3 more times that month walking. And every time they would ask, you know, "Have you got any more of those beautiful fish?" Or before they had walked up on us, we were just carp fishing, you know?
Yeah, and you know, they probably walk those canals every day, and before, you know, they never
Yeah.
thought about what was in there, but now every time they walk by, they're peeking in there a little bit, you know, seeing if they can spot one of those fish that they know now is so beautiful.
Wow.
Exactly.
Do you guys?
And I mean, this, you know, the size of that fish, I'm struggling to pick it up, and the guy's trying to help me, and it's like, "No, I need to do this. If this is a me thing, I need to do this." And, you know, they were so excited, but 10 minutes earlier, we were just carp fishing, you know. That was one of my favorite memories probably of that spring.
I had my wife and my daughter, she caught her first carp at one time. And she was like maybe 8 or 9 at that time. And my wife started freaking out, like, "Please help her, James, please help." No, I will not. This is her fight. This is her battle. And
Exactly.
she, you know, it says if it comes off, it comes off. But I let her fight this fish. This is her fight, you know. But you
Exactly.
know, my wife was, you know, she just wanted her, you know. She was just worried about her, you know, and all that kind of stuff, you know. There wasn't nothing wrong with what she said. It was just she was just worried about, you know. She actually wanted that carp, and I said, you know, bring that carp in. That was her battle, you know. She's gonna respect that and all that kind of stuff. And her arms got tired too. It was funny, but yeah, I was glad to actually see that all worked out.
It's all in a satisfaction once you're done.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. Do you like to fish around a lot of debris? Do you have a lot of debris around your area?
Not so much in our, well, depends on what you would call debris. If you're in a canal, you probably get a shopping cart or a scooter.
Yeah.
And they actually do live in them, though, which is the great part.
Oh yeah.
As far as our big lakes, I don't fish near a lot of structure or rivers. The river does have a lot of structure as far as down trees or grass or whatever, rocks, but our big lakes, I tend to fish more wide open areas.
Okay. Do you, man, again, man. So, okay, the structures and all that kind of stuff. Oh, okay. That, do you ever fish outside of Arizona? In the different states or anything like that?
I've been to California twice.
Okay.
I'm going to go to Texas and visit a friend next year, and we're going to fish Texas and Oklahoma.
Oh, okay.
But I do want to go, like, I just drove my aunt and uncle back last month from Virginia. I moved them back out here. And I passed the exit in Tennessee that said Dale Hollow. And I cried a little bit that I was that close and couldn't go.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Man.
I'm so sorry. You know, even the Europeans.
Yeah, I know. I was born in Connecticut, so, you know, those waters up there, too, I want to get back up and
Right.
fish.
even the European people are in the UK. They're a envy of Dale Hollow. I'm seeing more and more people talking about Dale Hollow more than
Yes.
than ever. Which that's awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
I would like to see one day that that lake there will actually be protective, from any kind of bow angler. But talking to other carp anglers too, they said there's so much carp, and what beautiful carp, especially mirrors, in that lake. After talking to an angler about it, matter of fact, it was Gilbert Huxley. Even if the bow anglers got onto that lake, they said that it would not ever hurt that lake at all. From what I hear.
That's what we need more of.
Yeah. And I mean, especially about that lake, like you said, there's so many mirrors. It seems like every fish you pull out of there is a mirror. Their genetics are amazing in there.
It's crazy. That's a man-made lake too.
Mm-hmm.
It really was a man-made lake. I'm not sure if you know about it, but there's actually used to be a little city down there. As a matter of fact, there's a school down there underwater. It's been, I don't know, over 50 years, 40
That's
years.
where those big girls are hiding down there.
Yeah.
They're down there in the schoolyard.
Yeah, you're down in the schoolyard. You actually go past that city, and you'll still see the school down there, from what I hear. So, but yeah,
that's what I wish we had more of. I mean, ironically enough, my PB mirror is a 32-pounder, and I was the third angler to catch her.
Oh, wow.
And the two previous anglers that caught her, actually, I know.
Oh,
really?
And the last angler to catch her, he's like, if that's her, she'll have this mark on her tail, and sure enough, she did. But she's in 12 foot of water, and she's been swimming around this housing community for, who knows, her entire life, or who knows how big she was when she got in there from the canal, because the canals are what filled them.
Yeah.
But that's what I think is really cool, is if we could have places that are actually protected so that carp can actually live out their lives and anglers can enjoy them.
I always thought it'd be kind of cool and set some kind of website up or something like that where you could actually tag a carp and people actually will check out the tag if they name it. Well, I mean, they'll see the numbers on that, and they can actually look it up on a website and say, oh, that's Jill, or that's Ralph, whatever.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
And that Ralph was 25.5 at this time. Now he's 30. I mean, you know what I mean? Just back in what year? Just have a little history, and I always thought that'd be kind of cool, have all these little tags around there. You just look up their names and what anglers actually caught them at that time too.
Yeah, that especially with how many anglers we have locally here in Indiana.
Yeah,
that'd be really cool to see. I definitely bet there's a bunch of people that have caught the same fish that don't even know it.
Yeah, they could just type it in and then that code.
Yeah.
So.
I absolutely agree. My fishing partner caught that same fish a few months later, and it's like, wow, there she is again, and he's been within a pound as far as weight. So, she's healthy, she's not on the downhill side of her life yet. So hopefully she stays in there and we can get her even this year.
There's one of my buddies, matter of fact, one of my teammates, Ricky Massey, he caught this one carp in a river one time, and then a couple years later, it had some markings on that carp that was recognizable 2 years later. Another friend caught, but they caught it in a different county.
Oh wow!
And yeah, that's
really cool.
It was really cool, but it had the exact same markings, and it's very unusual how that carp traveled that far and even past a dam for some reason, a structured dam, which we don't know how. Maybe if it got flooded up,
or it must have flooded over
or something. But it was very, I was like, oh, that's cool as hell. I like that. But yeah. But what's What kind of alarms do you use?
Right now I have Sonics.
Okay.
My ultimate dream is to. I keep bugging Rafal. I'm dying for one of those Mechanica rod pods. So once I do that, I'm going to upgrade a bunch of stuff. But right now I have Sonics, or I'm sorry, I have Fox SKSs.
Okay.
First alarm set I ever bought that didn't come from Amazon, because when I first started out, I didn't want to commit a lot because I wasn't sure if I was going to hang around carping, so to speak. So I'm just going to buy some cheap stuff on Amazon, and then, you know, if I like it, I'll upgrade. So they were I've actually had those for probably 3 years.
Oh, wow.
They have been through rain and snow. They've been in the canal. And when I first learned that I didn't hit my, when I was first learning to use my quick drags, I didn't have them loose enough. So the whole pod went in the canal. But yeah, they've never let me down.